So whenever we when I refer to it, I think of all of them put together, and people say, no, that's a foundation skill and that's an employability skill. Yeah, but we have to actually look at them all in the unit. So they're learning, reading, writing, oral communication, numeracy, communication, teamwork, problem solving, planning and organising, self-management, learning and technology. Now, when you're doing your assessment strategy, you should be looking at what's in there. They may not be in every unit, all of them, but across the qualification, they should all be there. We're pretty sure they are. But they won't necessarily all be in. Sorry?
You'd only have to make sure you've covered the whole.
You have to cover the ones within the unit. But by the time you've done a qualification, you should have addressed them all.
All job tasks and all units of competency include foundation skills. Just think about that for a moment. Almost everything we do at work has something to do with learning, reading, writing, oral communication and numeracy. It might be having a conversation with a client or a colleague, completing an observation record, or reading workplace health and safety information. Almost everything is underpinned by foundation skills. There are particular foundation skills that apply to particular job tasks, and they should always be addressed as part of a vocational training program. Trainers shouldn't just assume that learners have those skills, because even if a learner has good reading skills, for example, they may need support to develop the skills to be able to read particular documents or support to complete a particular type of report. So it's important that you make sure foundation skills are being worked on in your vocational training program. Each unit of competency should address those skills, but what are they? When you look at a unit of competency, it's not always clear where the foundation skills are. Without being fully aware, you may not fully address them. This video highlights how to draw out foundation skills in units of competency. This will help your trainers and assessors identify which foundation skills should be addressed when you teach a vocational training program. Okay, let's use an example. This is an extract from a unit written for early childhood educators. These performance criteria have lots of foundation skills included. Here are the clues you're looking for. A central foundation skill in these criteria would be oral communication, engaging in conversations with children and responding appropriately to their needs. Those are very different skills to those used when engaging with an adult. Conversations with children require suitable language that's appropriate to their age and needs, a language that the child can understand and access. You'll notice throughout a unit, as well as this example, that there are trigger words that prompt you to think about foundation skills. With oral communication, words like respond, engage, or talk with are trigger words. Trigger words are great at helping you identify different foundation skills. For example, words like allowance, measure, and estimate are usually about numeracy. However, the term report, which often occurs in units, could refer to an oral report or a written report. As the trainer, you need to identify which foundation skill is being referred to in the context in which you deliver training. Further on in the same example unit, there are performance criteria that require the support and respect of children. These are skills that are not just about what you say, they're also about body language and nonverbal communication. Sometimes foundation skills will take some thinking about in practice. Performance Criterion 4.2 says, allow children to make choices and to experience the consequences of these where there is no risk of physical or emotional harm to the child or another being. That really requires a conversation with a child, providing options for them to choose from, and having them understand the consequences of their choices. These are skills that need to be developed. You couldn't expect that someone new to such a job would have the skills to assist children to make decisions. We just looked at performance criteria, but it's important to look at the assessment requirements of the unit too. In the assessment requirements, the performance evidence and knowledge evidence sections will usually include some foundation skills you must draw out and assess. For example, in the unit we've been talking about, the performance evidence includes Here, a trainer would need strong foundation skills in oral communication, body language, listening, and nonverbal communication. And the knowledge evidence says that the candidate must have knowledge of... Not really any trigger words here, are there? However, the National Quality Standard and the Learning Framework are written documents, so a candidate must be able to read key information in these documents and be able to apply the principles to their work. That's the foundation skill of reading. Finding the foundation skills in a unit takes a bit of thinking. A list of trigger words will help that process. It's really important that the relevant foundation skills are identified so that they can be addressed in vocational training. Developing these foundation skills should be an integral part of the vocational training program to ensure that learners develop the appropriate skills for their work.
So do we want to just yell out some of the first ones that you think stand out? They only have to be the main ones. Anyone? Yep. Mm-hmm. Sorry? No, but what's the actual foundation skill? Learning. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. So these are the ones that we kind of that noticed. They sort of stand out initially. So learning, reading, problem solving, initiative and enterprise, self-management. The thing I'd like to point out, the video kind of makes out that it's a one-on-one situation. You know, like this point will be that foundation skill. This point will be that. It's not always the way. And I use the example, if you look at 3.4, it says seek assistance from interpreters of other persons according to communication needs. I think that one covers initiative, because you've got to seek something, self-management, because you'll find it's an issue that's for you, so you're making sure you're solving it. Your problem solving, your team working, because you're working with other people. So it could actually be multiple foundation skills in a point. Doesn't have to be one-on-one situation. Okay, there is also the foundation skills training package. So it has 3 qualifications and something like 93 units. It can be used to actually deliver a qual to actually get someone prepared to undertake any of our qualifications, or the units can be built in as electives to help and assist. So there's multiple ways of using that.
You might have heard there's a new foundation skills training package that's been released. It's ready to go and packed with units that you can deliver alongside vocational qualifications to help learners build the foundation skills needed for their job. RTOs must have the package on their scope of registration to be able to deliver it and comply with the standards for NVR-registered training organisations. The package has 3 pathway qualifications. Each of these qualifications can be contextualised to provide a pathway into a particular industry area. For example, the Certificate 1 in Skills for Vocational Pathways. Any of the units in this qualification could be contextualised to suit an industry sector. So a unit like Participate in Simple Spoken Interactions at Work could focus entirely on the spoken interactions that occur in an aged care setting. Likewise with the unit Read and Respond to Simple Workplace Information. The learning activities that you prepare could all be related to a particular industry sector. Contextualising these foundation skills training package qualifications provides an option for bridging programs or pathways into vocational qualifications. It's a way to ensure that learners start to build the right foundation skills for the job. Units out of the Foundation Skills training package can also be imported into vocational qualifications. The packaging rules for all qualifications allow units to be imported. What trainers need to do is think about the needs of the learner or the learner group. Do learners need to develop skills in a particular area of foundation skills? Think about the qualifications you deliver and the key skills involved in the work. Units like Write Routine Workplace Texts, which is a writing-focused unit, and Interact Effectively with Others at Work, which is an oral communication unit, would be ideal units to import into a qualification like the Certificate 3 in Early Childhood Education and Care, because those foundation skills are key to the role of being an early childhood educator. The choice of units will depend on the needs of the learners. Foundation skills units could also be used to support particular aspects of vocational units. Let's take an example. The first element in the unit HLTWHS001, Participate in Work Health and Safety, is about following safe work practices. Performance Criteria 1.1 says follow workplace procedures for safe work practices. Now, to be able to follow procedures, you'd need to be able to read the policies and procedures, or at least identify the key information, and take a look at the assessment requirements for this unit. The knowledge evidence says that candidates must demonstrate knowledge of safety signs and their meanings. To be able to do that, candidates must be able to read them. Now, the Foundation Skills Training Package includes a reading unit called Read and Respond to Basic Workplace Signs and Symbols. There's also a unit called Read and Respond to Simple Workplace Procedures. These units could help bring a focus to the reading skills that need to be developed for participating in work, health and safety, and possibly other units the learner is likely to enrol in. If you go onto training.gov.au and search for the unit Read and Respond to Basic Workplace Signs and Symbols, the application of the unit says it applies to individuals who need reading skills at ACSF Level 1. You may have some information about the learner's ACSF levels to help plan your training program. If your learners have low-level skills, you might need to spend some time scaffolding how to read signs and symbols. The performance criteria of the unit, Read and Respond to Basic Workplace Signs and Symbols, focus on identifying the audience, purpose and text features of signs, and finding ways to interpret the meaning. So in your training, you would focus on signs relevant to the context in which you deliver. For example, if you are working with learners who will work in a primary healthcare setting, then focus on the signs and symbols that would be found in that context. Break the content of the signs down. For example, the colours on signs are important. Black images on a yellow background always mean, take caution. There could be a risk of injury or harm. A sign like this would be seen on entrance in a hospital or a healthcare service that has an X-ray machine. The fan-type picture is meant to represent radiation. Encourage learners to think about what they should do when they see a sign like this. If the unit applied to workers in a different work context, then change the signs that you focus on to suit the context. So this example has shown how a unit from the Foundation Skills Training Package can be used to support a vocational unit of competency. Now, the Community Services and Health Industry Skills Council have developed a suite of videos to support foundation skills development. Make sure you check them out. They include lots of tips and strategies that you can use to build the foundation skills of your learners. Go to www.CS&HISC.com.au and search for Foundation Skills Implementation Project.